Hi everyone. So for today's video, I am introducing the experiment first. Just because a few weeks ago my bottle rocket didn't work out as planned, so I'm a little bit nervous that this one might not work out. So like I did last week, you guys will see my reaction in real time. So I just want to kind of go over the nuances of the lab, starting with the objectives. So first and foremost, in this lab, we will need a lemon, zinc. I'm using not screws, but not like something between a screw and a thumbtack, zinc plated, and also what I think is a copper plated, similar type shape thing. I might try it with pennies too, just to see. But that's kind of what's making me a little bit nervous to know if it's pure copper and if that'll make a big difference, but we'll see what happens. So in this, and it also requires a lemon and a rubberized wire. So in this experiment, the lemon will act as a battery. Batteries are made out of two different types of metals, zinc and copper, and it's suspended in an acidic solution. And in this case, the acidic solution would be the lemon, because lemons, as we know, are acidic. I kind of want to bring up the thought of when you see an old battery, I know this happened, we keep our batteries in the refrigerator, but sometimes if you have a really old one, the acid will actually come out and it forms that white powder. So I'm kind of thinking in terms of that. So the two metals mixed with the wire and then the steel wool that we're going to be using should conduct an electrical current. So we're going to see what happens. An electrical current, that's something important to know. It's created when two metals have different tendencies to lose negatively charged electrons. And because the zinc loses the electrons more rapidly than copper, zinc is the negative electrode and the copper is the positive electrode. I did research this a little bit more in depthly aside from just the video. So as I mentioned, the materials used are going to definitely be a lemon, 6 copper pennies, depending if I'm using the nails or not. But if I'm not, I have decent sized lemons, so I may use pennies, so I have them both on deck. So in addition to the pennies, I also have copper tack nail type things. 6 zinc nails, a rubberized wire, steel wool. I'm definitely gonna need a knife, and paper to see if a spark will form. As I said, I haven't done the experiment yet, so I might use computer paper or paper towel. And because there's a blizzard outside, I'll have to do this in my kitchen, so I gotta stay a little safe. So we're also gonna have some water handy. So what should be happening is that because of the metals mixing with the acidity from the lemon, the wire should be able to conduct an electrical current to the steel wool. I kind of discussed how it works and why the materials are used. I'm definitely going to go over it more in detail as I perform the experiment. But the expectation is, I am nervous about it not working, but the expectation should be that the steel wool should be generating some electricity from the battery source of the lemon, zinc, copper, and wire. The weather is pretty bad outside. It is a blizzard. I live in New York. So I have to kind of see how the experiment goes. I want to watch the video again. So I do expect some hindrances in my experiment to potentially be the weather. I just want to see how big the fire can potentially get before I burn my kitchen down. So if I do have to go outside, I could definitely see that being a variable that does not make my experiment work. So stay tuned and check out the next clip to see me perform the experiment. Thank you. Hi everyone. So for this experiment, I actually, this is my second time filming it, so I just want to kind of reintroduce it. So I have my lemon right here, and I'm using some copper pennies instead of nails because I actually couldn't find any copper nails, but that's okay. So I'm using these pennies, and I've already put the zinc nails in it, and this is just what it looks like. I have my rolled lemons and some wire as well, and I just kind of have the ends exposed of the wire so that when I touch the steel wool that I also have, you can see if the reaction occurs. So basically, in a battery, you have the acid and you have the anode and the cathode. So this is acting like a battery. I explained it a lot further in detail in my video. So right now I'm just going to try to make this work. I watched the video that was provided to the class, as well as an additional video, just to kind of understand it a little bit more, because I like to be pretty thorough in my explanations, especially if the experiment doesn't work. I kind of like to know what's supposed to happen. So yeah, so I'm just right now coiling this, the wire that I have around the pennies and the zinc nails. So I'm just doing that, and we're going to see what happens. So right now it's a little bit difficult to get it around the pennies, but that's okay. Just a little challenging. That's all right. Let's see. Okay, I'm actually very scared to, if it does work, get electrocuted, but that's okay. I don't think I will. I have a cup of water. Well, you're not supposed to use water anyway, so that's probably the worst thing I could do. But just in case something catches on fire, you never know. Okay, so I have my wire as best wrapped around as I possibly can, and please excuse my cat. He just wants to hang out and do the experiment with me. Okay, so I have my wire a little bit bizarrely wrapped around the metals, and let's see what happens. Let's take a look at what can happen. So as I just said, I have the wire wrapped. Can't really see it because it's light. And I'm going to take my steel wool, a paper towel, and some dry ember, and see what happens. And I'm hoping it works. So if it doesn't work, I did leave my explanation in the introduction video that I filmed for this. And I actually decided to have my ends of the wire exposed so I can work with it, but it could still, this is probably not the safest thing that I can do, but that's okay. Okay, this worked before. There we go. So I have the ends exposed, and I'm just going to connect one wire to the zinc portion and one wire to the copper portion. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I just want that to be showing a little bit more. Okay. And I'm just going to take the wire. This wire is rubber coated. The wire that I used to wrap is not. So we're just going to take that. That's touching the zinc. And that's going to touch the copper. I'm actually doing this on the cutting board also, so let's see. I was planning on doing this outside, but there's a blizzard outside, so let's see. Okay, that's on the zinc, and copper. The wire that I'm using is a little bit stiff. So, okay, so I'm touching the steel wool with it. And so far, nothing has happened. Let me see if I can figure out a way to maybe connect it more adequately. Let's see. Let's see. If I wrap it around, you can try that. So I'm wrapping it around, and we're going to do the same thing for that's wrapped around the zinc. And we'll wrap this one around that penny. Yeah, so sometimes experiments will fail. I think the reason for error in this experiment in particular, I think there's a lot of things that could be wrong with it. Perhaps, here, let me show you guys what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to kind of work it out like this, and I am using the rubber coated wire, so I, God forbid, don't electrocute myself. I'm not in the mood for that today. So far this is not working. I think that there's a lot of reasons for error in this experiment. 100%. I think the organization and the setup of the lemon could have a major thing to do with it. As you can see here, I am using electrical wiring, but I didn't want to use rubber wiring around the metals because then I was kind of concerned that it wouldn't allow the current to take place. So I did actually cut up another wire and use that. I hope I don't need that charger, but I use that. And then I used some plain electrical wire that I had on hand to connect the from the lemon to the steel wool. So experiments are always more fun when they work. But this one didn't, and that's okay. And I hope my explanation kind of allowed you to understand how you can potentially make a battery out of a lemon. It's all about the reactions taking place. It's all about the loss of electrons and stuff like that. So I hope my introduction explained it because my demonstration couldn't show it. But yeah, so this was fun. I wish it worked. I wish I had something more to show. But it was an interesting project to do. I wish my paper towel caught on fire. So that's okay. But yeah, so I think the setup of the metals on the lemon probably plays a big role in it. I'm also using pennies, and I feel like today, I'm not certain about this, but like you never know what's actually in the metal. So they could say they're copper, but they can have other blends in them that might make them less conductive of electricity. The zinc plated nails, maybe because they're plated, that could pose a margin of error. So yeah, I think there's a lot of variables. Maybe the wrapping of the wire around the metals. I think that's probably the biggest thing. I think if I did that, maybe had a different type of wire, it would work. But either way, this was fun. I enjoyed doing this experiment, and I wish my paper towel lit on fire. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something, and thanks for your time.